meeting to order. Before we get started, the start of the meeting, I'm going to be standing. I'm having an issue with my back, so when I finally sit down, then I'll be sitting for the rest of the night. So for the first couple items, I will be standing. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll, please.
Trustee Pacoli?
Here.
Trustee Meissman?
Here.
Trustee Bellinger? Here. Trustee Pankowski? Here. Trustee Feinmore?
Here.
Trustee Hessek?
Here.
Treasurer Mazick?
Here.
Attorney Davis?
Here.
President Zillmer?
Here. Approval of agenda.
I'd like to make the amendment to move item 12, closed session, down to 14 behind calls for the table.
I thought we did that.
The one I have is,
This might, the printed copy might not be the number.
Didn't we send out a new one?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
And that one is posted too as well. So no more.
Any others?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we approve the agenda as presented. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment on the agenda. Seeing none. Approval of minutes, November 12th.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes from November 12th.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported that the minutes of November 12th be approved as presented. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Support.
Been moved and supported that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Feinmore?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Meissman?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Hessek?
Yes.
President Zillmer?
Yes.
Trustee Pacoli?
yes.
President items. Item A, Resolution 19-015. Honoring our Eagle Scout, Duncan McGee. And I'm going to read the resolution. Whereas on behalf of the Village of New Haven, we wish to recognize the attainment of high honor by one of our young citizens of Macomb County. And whereas Duncan McGee has demonstrated strong leadership abilities and has exhibited a strong sense of duty, honor, and patriotism, making him a clear example of the best qualities of American youth. And whereas Duncan McGee has completed the arduous and demanding requirements necessary to be awarded the rank of Eagle Scout, the highest honor given by the Boy Scouts of America. Be it resolved, and it hereby is that the Village of New Haven recognize and congratulate Duncan McGee upon his attainment of the rank of Eagle Scout. This resolution hopefully will be adopted by the Village Board this 10th day of December 2019. A motion's in order.
Make a motion that we adopt resolution 19-015, honoring Eagle Scout Duncan McGee.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we adopt resolution 19-015, honoring Duncan McGee. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Meissman?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Pacoli?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Feinmore?
Yes.
Trustee Hessek?
Yes.
President Zillmer?
Yes. Come on up, young man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think your family would like to take a picture. And if you guys want to come up and we'll let the For those of you who may not remember, Duncan is the third member of this troop to attain this honor this year. One of the projects that he worked on was the rehabbing the bridge that crosses the creek between Decorah Park and the high school property. He raised some money and did some work and helped have the bridge that does cross the creek right there. And that's a bridge that years ago was put in. They probably hadn't seen a good day's work in a while. And the fact that he chose that as his one of his projects helps those who cross the creek, and it makes that bridge a lot safer to cross. So thank you for choosing that. Oh, now I can sit down. Never get back up.
If I may make a comment, Chris?
Yes.
I said this last time, the leadership, what is your leader or your scoutmaster's name?
Rich?
Rich. Last month, I said that I commended your leadership because so many young men were coming through. And again, I just wanted to comment on that again. Thank you for working with the youth in our community.
Okay, we're ready? Item B, budget amendments for fiscal year 2019.
Hi, it's everyone, our budget amendments that we have done for the past, we usually do it quarterly. This one right now updates all, basically, I went through and did all the actual tax receipts, make sure that our budget numbers were to those numbers. Only thing that we really didn't approve in this past quarter was the building department expenses. Salaries are way high because we have so much growth going on. So that's the only one that we really haven't amended or have gotten approved from the council on my budget amendments. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, on the, I had that highlighted under the building department.
Yes.
For wages, are they paid per,
Monthly.
paid monthly, so does the number of buildings matter, or,
Wait,
I mean, are they paid per building, like, why did the salary go up
they're paid per permit.
per permit, okay? That's what that is.
So like one of them is they get $75 of this, they get $60 of that, they get $50 of that. So, and we've already replaced 100 houses this year, so that's what that reflects that. I took into consideration the time frame for what's coming up to the end of the fiscal year, and that's why I brought it up to $143,000. So I took the timing and stuff like that. And it might be really short yet, because they're still going like gangbusters, so. I amended it up to $143,000, so. Any other questions?
The building department right now is pretty much totally self-sufficient. Am I
So it's,
correct?
yeah, it's been self-sufficient, for sure. Fund balance, not too good.
This might be a question for future budgets, but do we anticipate this type of growth next year or again?
From what I understand, Can I tell them about?
They know.
Oh, did you know? They're opening up Pembroke, there's like 47 lots out there that are gonna be opening up. The Porter Park, they're opening up that individually, so I don't know if lots are over there, I'm not sure on that, so it's possible, at least for the next year.
So the future budget will reflect a number closer to 140 than.
I think, yeah, next year, yes. Year after that, no. No, they're just hoping more on, I can't say slow down, so. We are covering our costs in the
Any other questions? Motion's in order to accept the amendment.
Make a motion that we accept the budget amendments as presented.
Support.
Properly moved and supported that we accept the budget amendments as presented. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Pridmore?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Natchez?
Yes.
President Miller?
Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you.
I'm going over there. Item C, MML.
We are resolved the liability insurance policy for the renewal on January 1st. It's $2,045 more. We did have salary increases basically the building, and we had the truck, so that's what the difference is. We're getting a rebate for $2,500. Usually we get about much. So basically our liability insurance on $2,000, $2,045.
And so our rebate will pretty much
Cover
our increase. Questions?
This is the, that we renew annually, right? Correct.
Make a motion that we renew our MML liability and property pool for January 2020 through January 2021.
Support.
The properly moved and supported that we renew our liability and property insurance, MML. Any questions on the motion? Should we include the amount
How did I do it?
of $43,158? Mr. Mason?
Yes. What he said. 42,158.
Any sense?
No, it's
No sense. Question on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger? Yes. Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Natchez?
Yes.
Trustee Pridmore?
Yes.
President Miller?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item D, lot combination request for 57070 Gratiot. You have a recommendation from the planner. It has gone through the planning commission portion. What's your pleasure?
Is the recommendation from the planner, is that in the packet that we received the hard copy of, or was that in the, okay, that one there.
Oh,
Make a motion that we approve the application for land combination for 57070 Gratiot
Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we accept the recommendation for the lot combination for 57070 Gratiot. Any questions on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item E, the MDOT Category B funded contract. We finally got a contract from MDOT. We've had the attorneys look over it. They see nothing unusual or wrong, and so we are just requesting permission to execute this contract with MDOT. It's for the $250,000 that will go to road improvements next spring.
Were we responsible for engineering or any other costs
Yes,
associated with it?
yes, we're responsible for the engineering portion of it. Thank you.
We are responsible for, is it the project like $500,000?
I'm sorry.
I think the project's like over $500,000, we're getting $250 for it, and we're having engineering, it was $503. We still have to go out for bid,
Right.
so as soon as we find that final number, we will be, they will pay up to $250, we're getting $250, whatever else over and above is what.
Our total estimated project is
It was
$503,000.
$503,000, that
But
was,
until we go out to bid, we won't know what the exact is.
exactly.
But yes, the
So, yes.
engineering portion is the responsibility of the village.
So this total project will cost us about $250,000.
Correct.
That's preliminary numbers, yes. And so we want to go out to bid as soon as possible so we can nail down a contractor and hopefully we'll get some favorable rates.
And will those numbers come before us again then?
Oh, absolutely,
Okay,
yes.
okay, perfect.
Yes, we will post the specs on Mitten and we'll have a time frame for the bids to be submitted and we'll have a pre-bid meeting, we'll go through the whole process that we have to go through. And we have to keep MDOT in the loop the whole way.
I move that we approve the MDOT Category B funded project contract.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported that we approve the contract with MDOT for the Category B funding project. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Polly?
Yes.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
President Dilbert?
Yes. Motion approved. Item F, the wage recommendation for the Teamsters, DPW, and clerical. Mrs. Cladmore, would you like to?
Ways and Means met. The recommendation for Ways and Means is that the Teamsters contracts, DPW and clerical, receive a 3% raise. Cost of living last year, I think, metered out to 1.9%. So the additional 1% would be incentive to stay on the job, if you will. So it would meet cost of living increase plus a little more. We also recommended that the wage reopener for the next year also be satisfied with the 3%. There's really no need to come back and renegotiate the wages every year on this contract. So what we're recommending is that 3% for the next 2 years for both DPW and clerical.
Any questions on that?
Make a motion that we accept the wage recommendations for the Teamsters, DPW, and clerical.
Support.
The 3%,
Yeah,
2 years.
3% for 2 years.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported that we accept the recommendation of a 3% raise for the DPW and the clerical for the next 2 years of their contract, the last 2 years of their contract. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Myson?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Pomakowski?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
President Zeller?
Yes. Item G, a wage recommendation for the accountant, which is supposed to come from me. I've had a conversation with Sandy, and at this time,
We're supposed to get a retroactive pay.
oh, for the contract,
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
the retro back to.
Yeah, the contract expired June 30th?
July, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and of course, the employees are owed that money because they've been paid it for the past 6 months. So Ways and Means also makes a recommendation that they be given retroactive pay before the end of the year.
I make a motion that we accept the additional recommendation for retroactive pay beginning July 1st, was it? July 1st?
July 1st. Yeah.
Support.
And properly moved and supported that the employees be given their retro pay back to July 1. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Myson?
Yes.
Trustee Pomakowski?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
President Zeller?
Yes. Item G, a wage recommendation for the accountant. At this time, I am not, we recently gave the accountant a $6,000 raise. She is due for a percentage increase first of the year, and Ways and Means has agreed to do a wage reopener next year. So at this time, I am not going to recommend an additional bonus for the accountant. We've talked, and she has no problem with me not making that recommendation. Bonuses are, my original thought was to tie bonuses to performance. When you save $1, you get 10 cents of it. But it's similar to what I was bringing to the table months ago that didn't go over well, and I didn't think this right here would be much different. So I'm not going to recommend any bonus for the accountant at this time. Like I said, there's a couple of things that are coming up where I think she will be properly compensated. Any comments or questions on that statement? Item H, CDBG funding update. Our application is
One application.
one application is in. Right now, our application looks good for the sidewalk replacements that we are chasing. There was a lot of effort and energy and time put into the application. The application does look good. Okay, we won't know until the first of the year, whether we're successful or not. In addition to that, they recently held a workshop for a second CDBG grant. And this particular grant, unlike the first, can be used for new construction, new sidewalks where sidewalks may not currently exist, or updates to handicap and ADA issues. But similar to the first grant, it's all west of the railroad tracks. So we will be holding a public hearing the first of the year, getting the public's input and council's input as to what we're going to be chasing with the second grant. We've tossed around some different ideas about putting in sidewalks where sidewalks currently don't exist to make the village more walkable. We've talked about upgrading the restrooms at the park on Haven Ridge to make them more ADA compliant, or even expanding those restrooms. So there's 3 or 4 items that we can go after in this second grant. So we will hold a public hearing next year, probably in January or February, based on the time requirements. And then we will put together that application. So that's just an update as to where we're at. So we're moving forward, chasing money. Item I, North Gratiot Interceptor. Today, we had a conference call with the bond attorney, the county, there was 6 different groups that we had to participate in this conference call. One of our bonds for the North Gratiot Interceptor is callable and is going out to be rebid. So hopefully we will get a much lower rate, and which will reduce the amount that we currently pay on our sewer debt. Anything you want to add, Sandy? Sandy and I participated in this.
I did send you all the information today,
Yes.
in the email, so that you guys can see the backup documentations. Basically, they're just making sure that we are financially sound, the questions and stuff like that. They didn't have anything bad to say about us, so basically,
It was pretty straightforward.
yeah, so they can take our documentation now and bid for some bonds for that thing. And we giving you that information too. I think that was the one that said that we could save 65,000 or 82,000.
86.
It's just sort of a $2 million bond that they're gonna try to,
Right, of course, Lynn Township gets more, but our portion was like $82,000.
Is that the one where we will see the savings in 2021, or is it?
Wasn't it like over 6 years that we were
Yeah.
talking about? Yes,
The
that's
savings began in January 2021, if I remember
I
right.
think so, yes, that's the one, yes. And we're all done now. So that's what this was all about. So they will be going out for bond pricing and stuff like that with our information with Lawrence Township. So that's what that was all about.
Item J, water sprinklers. We've had 8 water sprinkler breaks this fall. I think part of it was due with the sudden drop in temperature. We got 9 inches of snow on November 11th, and it caught some homeowners by surprise. And typically what has been happening is that the homeowner doesn't realize that his sprinkler has sprung a leak. We know of one homeowner whose sprinkler, the break was near the catch basin in the backyard, and so the water was just going in the catch basin. So we bring this to you because what we've been doing is, while we charge them the full amount for the used water, and trust me, some of these have been, okay, we are looking at, for guidance as to the sewer portion, because the water is not going in the sewer. And so we're looking for guidance, because we would have to amend our ordinance as to what we can do in the sewer portion. And originally, we were charging 100% for the water that had been wasted, but we were only charging 50% for the sewer portion.
I think based off of historical in BSA, we'd be able to figure out what their average usage of the sewer would be when,
We would be able to figure, we could do
maybe a 6-month average or something.
some averages. We could do some averages.
I would be okay with that too. I mean, if it's not being used, if it's not being a burden to the sewer system, then I don't think we should be charging them for the water that's not going in there. So
And-
something along those lines, I think, is appropriate.
So what are we, give us some guidance, because we will bring back an amendment to our ordinance that will reflect this.
An average of 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus, would you say 6 months average would be
Yes.
fair?
That's fine.
And is it hard to get, I mean, it's just going into VSA, right, so it's not that hard
It's
to get?
easy, it's easy to do. You can go back 6 months and get the average easily.
So are we in agreement that we will use a 6-month average of the sewer?
My question is, on the ordinance, would that be just specific to this event?
Just specific to this event?
Okay,
Yes,
then I'm for it.
yes, yes, because we've had, other situations where people, have lost a tremendous amount of water, and we don't know where it went, so we have to charge them the full amount.
I know in the case of, we had a resident in Decorah Park that had a similar situation, and Marcus was able to work with them, I think the village worked with him on the sewer rate, that we charged, and, he was forever grateful when he got his new bill instead of, what he was being charged.
And I know this conversation is related to the temperature, but this is gonna be a 12-month program.
This is gonna be a part of the ordinance.
Correct.
Yes, so,
Not just, not
So-
just a.
So if they have a break in the summer, and they find out that they have a break,
if they have a break in the summer, the same would apply.
Okay, that's,
As long as we can verify that it is a sprinkler break, we have to be able to verify that, not just a word of mouth.
right,
Okay?
that's what we bring that. as a-
Yeah, we have to be able to verify that, and so far as the DPW.
What happens is, the sprinkler systems need to be blown out, properly maintained, and winterized, and the pressure vacuum breaker on the sprinkler system is popping. So in the summer, it shouldn't happen at all. But in the winter, fall, it actually shouldn't happen at all, but if you don't properly winterize it,
Right,
that's what's gonna happen, so, we shouldn't witness this in summer, so that shouldn't be an issue, but as soon as we get the cold weather, then we could run into those, but hopefully they winterize them, because there has been events where the resident wasn't home, and luckily, we're doing our rounds, and we see water, so, yeah, it's not raining or anything, it was one that just was running, we had to turn the water off at the curb, or it just ran. They were gone for a weekend. We left a note on the door to call us when they got back, or whenever they got back Monday. And this was on Thursday. So I'm saying that just people, however to put it out there, they need to properly winterize their systems also, or it's gonna keep happening.
One of the breaks that was found, I think, was one of the common areas in the Decorah Park.
Yes, on Arlington.
Yeah.
I think the year-round is worth mentioning though, especially with the homeowners improving their properties. We've seen it in Amherst where a fence goes up and nobody realizes that there's a line.
Yeah.
And then they get their water bill and they're just losing it into the ground.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's marshy anyway, so.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of suspected cases of that, and with the new builds, digging foundations, and they might nick a line.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will we will bring back a recommended amendment for the ordinance to address this.
So, just to be clear, we want an amendment to the ordinance, which is going to be, just on the sewer side, 50% charge of the 6-month average for sewer.
No, a 6-month average of the sewer charge.
Yeah, and then, no, not 50% at all.
Right.
Not a 6-month average, it's just,
It's a 6-month average.
Sewer only, paying for the water. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, they'll pay for the water total, but it's just a 6-month average of the sewer. Yeah.
So if my 6-month average is $50 and this 1 month in question was 100, I would still pay $50.
As long as you can prove that that's why.
In the event of,
Right, verified by DPW.
Okay, and, we'll put a clause in there that say that the DPW has to be called out to verify the, because we can't just go on word of mouth.
It should be part of the ordinance. The
Yes.
DPW has to verify.
Has to verify.
Honestly.
Attorney items, update.
Be updated on 2 properties. Mr. Kelly, now a licensed attorney in the state of Michigan, now for a whole 2 or 3 months in a row, will tell you about these properties.
Good evening. Yeah, two properties. First, 30701 Elk. That complaint has been drafted. It has been filed in Macomb County Circuit Court. We've attempted service by mail under the court rules on the owner of that property. Unfortunately, he's difficult to find. It's very restrictive personal jurisdiction rules in Michigan. So at this time, we're going to try and send a process server out. I think we have already, and we're going to give that a little more time for him to try and find this individual. If that does not work, then we have to motion the court for alternate service. And then when the judge grants that, that consists of both mailing it, certified mail, return receipt requested, restricted to the addressee, as well as tacking it to the property. And I think that's both the last known address and the property in question. We think he's in Utica somewhere. That's the understanding right now. And then Victoria, over here, we were just recently able to obtain dismissal of the district court case. So you can't have both a case in district court and circuit court at the same time. It's not permitted. So we did draft a complaint. I think we got that dismissed last week or the week before. We drafted a complaint. The complaint's been filed. We haven't got service on that individual yet either, because we just sent the complaint out. I think it was today. So once that happens, although the time period, although the powers, the equitable powers that you have in circuit court are much more vast than district court, it is going to take some time. There's a discovery period. The schedule is usually set by the court, 60, 90 days or whatever. We will make a motion before the end of that discovery period to try and demolish the property at Elk. I understand that's what we want for that property, and then to remediate the property at Victoria, get all that stuff cleaned up out there. That's it. Any question?
Questions? Thank you. Payment of bills.
I know that we paid the bills in the amount of $153,985.99.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we pay the bills in the amount of $153,985.99. Questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Capoli?
Yes.
Trustee Mikowski?
Yes.
Trustee Lyson?
Yes.
Trustee Nashek?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger? Yes. Trustee Pipeline?
Yeah.
President Joder?
Yes. Motion carried. Treasury report.
Total village cash assets of $4,639,010.13.
Make a motion that we receive and file the treasurer's report.
Support.
Properly moved and supported that we receive and file the treasury report. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The clerk is asking that all items for the January 14th meeting be in by January 4th. New business, planning commission update. Mrs. Bonkowski.
I did not attend the meeting as I was out of town, but they dove into the master plan, into the downtown area. So it's divided into segments, and that was the first order for discussion. So I'll have more information after we come next month's meeting. Thank you.
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, we had a pretty quick meeting last month. Some good new ideas were brought up, kind of looking at some of the surrounding communities and kind of trying to come up with things that we could apply here, you know, with our current resources and obviously looking into some new resources. So it was a decently productive meeting for as short as it was. So we're going to be looking at some new things into 2020, some better ways of advertising, you know, the things coming along, and then just kind of catering more towards different groups within the village as well. So some pretty good stuff coming up. As far as events go, we have the Christmas light judging that's going to happen this weekend. The winner's going to be announced on Monday. There's a couple gift cards going out for that. I think it was posted on a few different platforms. And then we had the Parade of Lights, which went well. It's the first year I could make it in 5 years. So but I heard it went pretty well. So they changed up that format a little bit, and it went really good. So that's all we got.
For the Christmas tree lighting, I believe in years past, we had the winners, a picture of them on the website.
For the houses,
Yeah, for the Christmas light.
yeah, I think that's all in process again, and they're working out a little bit different ways of kind of notifying people and make it as all inclusive as we possibly can too. So.
And the Parks and Rec is sponsoring the Wayne County Light Fest.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to
this
mention
Saturday.
that, right. This Saturday, Wayne County Light Fest, I think that bus booked up pretty
That bus
quick.
booked up pretty
Yeah,
quick.
they're doing, traveling through Heinz Drive, Wayne County Light Fest, and then I believe they're stopping at a restaurant afterwards too. So, and yeah, that bus, 50-something seats booked up like lickety split.
Thank you. Call from the floor. Call from the table.
Just wanted to update on the fire department committee that we're meeting for the first time on Tuesday, December 17th at 6 PM. And I did email both Sandy and Genevieve, and I believe it was posted. And Parks and Rec is not meeting that night, so we basically are taking their slot, but it's an hour earlier.
On that same subject, because we currently only have 2 members of that committee, and 2 is not a good number. Even number is not a good number. So I'm gonna make a 3rd appointment, and I've asked Mrs. Bonkowski to be that 3rd member of that committee. So put her on your,
I actually already forwarded the confirmation.
oh, okay. So Mrs. Bonkowski will also be on that committee.
Would it be worth updating the ordinance to make it 3? Just
We
to-
will update that also. Call from the table.
I have one. Do we have any plans for the streets committee to meet this year? Or,
We,
I know I missed the last one, but
we can,
I slept through it, so.
we can and we should, because, the one good thing with this, excuse me, the fact that we got this MDOT grant actually frees up some additional money
Okay.
that we could look at other streets to do. So we, yeah. Or we could just sit back and let the pot, fill up again for another year or so. But yes, so there are some other streets that we should take a look at.
Okay.
And see what the 250 that we're saving on, from the MDOT, how far we could, let's get together sometime. We'll schedule that probably, don't want to do it in the middle of the winter because of snow on the ground. So if it is something that we do want to do, we need to be able to put it together quickly so that we can bid it quickly.
So if we do it early for the projects for the summer,
Yeah, it would have to be, early spring, soon as the frost is out of the ground, because, a lot of these streets react to the frost, and, okay, yeah, make it a point of.
After I'm staying on vacation the rest of the year, so I'm free to meet if you guys want to meet this month still.
You said what, you're on vacation for the rest of, okay, the year.
So, yeah, so I'm open to
Then you should rewear your suit at the community breakfast so you can get your picture.
Yeah, I'm available, so,
all right, yeah, because I just have some ideas on.
okay, yeah, but let's get together, 40 years out there,
All right,
yeah.
bring it up since you work
That's
nights.
what's that?
I said I bring that up because you work nights, so we wouldn't have to necessarily meet in the evening, whatever works best for your schedule and your schedule. And
My schedule, I think last week was one heck of a week, and next, I think I'm good next week. No, I'm not good next week? Okay, then there's there's probably something in my calendar that I have overlooked. Okay,
Look at it first.
yes,
We're running out of time.
yes. I'll let you know.
Right.
Call from the table.
I just had a question about how our waste hauling is going. Anybody hear any
How's the office doing?
good, bad, indifferent?
Don't
We did
even
have one instance, somebody said that they didn't get it picked up.
Yeah.
We've been dealing with the gentleman because we had the holiday, and he said it was Saturday, and then they were having blah, 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 blah. and
So normal, average?
And I know there was a couple
They're
of people.
they're in the village early,
Yeah.
very early, and people are complaining they're not getting picked up, when in fact, they have already gone through their streets already, so.
Just put it out the night before though.
Yeah. There was 3 people in my sub that didn't get their yard waste picked up, but it was their fault. Because when I turned the corner at, say, 8 o'clock in the morning, their yard waste wasn't out.
Mhm.
But then when I come back through at 9 o'clock, it was out. Well,
They already come through. They try to get out of here by 12:30.
yeah.
We had one instance in our sub that Dan addressed.
Yeah, there was one, for code enforcement, they literally had like 2 mountains, of junk, the tenant had moved out, and, it was mountains, so, GFL didn't touch it during the normal rounds or whatever, but, calls were made and they did, they took care of it. Calls were made and then they took care of it, and then the tenant put out 2 more mountains of trash, which also weren't picked up, and then calls were made and they were picked up.
That's part of the problem, that these people that move out like that the garbage still has to be stacked in a manner. And if it is,
It was actually, well, I shouldn't say, it was orderly, but it was just immense. I was surprised that, especially after they did collect it, and then 2 more mountains were put back up. I was surprised that stuff fit in the house. I mean, it was an immense amount of stuff. It was orderly, but it was orderly.
if it was orderly, then they should have picked it up.
Well, but to further that, because I worked with them on this one, people came through the neighborhood and picked through the
Dig through it
piles.
and probably
And then
disposed of
spread
it.
it everywhere.
Right.
So by the time GFL made it there, it
Yeah.
wasn't the piles they were originally
Okay.
put in.
Okay, so it wasn't orderly then.
Right.
Yeah.
The tenants had put it in an orderly fashion, the neighbors had decided to help themselves to everything, and by the time GFL made it there, there were Tide bottles and,
Yeah.
That's as I say.
But at the same
Trucks
time,
are-
we should
trucks
be
are
good
bottom.
customers.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have that much garbage, you should get a dumpster.
agreed, but it was a tenant.
Right,
And so
I know.
unfortunately, the property owner, I think,
I'll be willing to definitely say that as much apprehension as I had with going for GFL, I've been pleasantly surprised
Yeah.
with how good the feedback has been. They did skip me for yard waste once, but I'll give them a pass.
And, I mean, there was yard waste out, last week, and the yard waste has stopped.
Right.
Yes,
And people need to realize they're no longer picking up yard waste.
in my case, I had one garbage can that was labeled yard waste, and then I had it surrounded by the bags. They picked up the bags and they missed the can. I'll give them a pass because they might not have looked at the label.
there has been, and I think you commented on a post too, some confusion with that too, where people are misinterpreting yard waste stopping with recycling not happening anymore.
No.
And so,
No, just yard waste
Yeah.
is stopping. That's it.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, call from the table. If there's no other calls from the table, we are gonna go into closed session, and when we come out, there will be, we will accept a motion to go into closed session, and when we come out of closed session, there will most likely be, there will be no action.
Is this a motion to go into closed session for a litigation update? Is that we make a motion that we go into closed session for a litigation update at 7:50.
Been properly moved and supported that we go into closed session for a litigation update. Any questions on the motion?
I did.
Thank you, Tracy.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? Oh, a roll call vote. Madam Clerk?
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Malinger? Yes. Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Fenimore? Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
President Miller?
Yes.